the message popped up on my phone while I was busy helping a customer at my shop. I'm leaving you and moving to Los Angeles with my 21-year-old girlfriend. I emptied our joint bank account. LOL. My hands didn't shake and my voice stayed steady as I suggested a scarf for Mrs. Adams. The only hint that my 13-year marriage had just been destroyed by a text was a slight tension around my eyes. I waited until Miss Adams left with her purchase wrapped neatly in our gold-colored paper, and then calmly texted back, "Good luck. My name is Emma, and at 39, I'd just experienced the coldest breakup possible." My husband Jake probably imagined me breaking down into tears, feeling helpless. But as he celebrated his clever escape, I quietly locked my shop and went home. I'd seen it coming for months: the frequent late meetings, secretive phone behavior, new wardrobe, and sudden obsession with the gym. 3 months earlier, I found a restaurant receipt for 2 people from a night Jake claimed he was working late. That same evening, I opened a private bank account at a different bank. A week later, when Jake casually suggested we merge all our money into one joint account, I smiled and agreed. Secretly, I moved most of my savings into the new account, leaving just enough in our joint account so he wouldn't suspect anything. My phone buzzed again. "Don't bother begging. Anna and I leave tomorrow. I'll collect my things later." Anna, the new assistant at Jake's office. I'd met her briefly at a holiday party. I'd watched her flirt openly, laughing loudly at his jokes, touching his arm when she thought nobody noticed. Young enough to be his daughter, naive enough to think she was special. I didn't reply. Instead, I called my lawyer, the one I'd spoken to months earlier after discovering strange hotel charges on our credit card. "It's time," I said calmly. He made his move. "The documents are ready," she replied. "Should we serve him in Los Angeles?" "No rush," I smiled. "Let him think he's won first." Another message lit up my phone. "I know this must be tough for you, Emma. You're not getting any younger. At least you've got your little store to keep you occupied." My little store, the successful boutique I'd started myself, the same one that earned more than Jake's boring office job ever did. I'd been careful from the beginning to keep its profits separate from our joint accounts. I smiled, imagining the certified letters that would soon be waiting for him in Los Angeles. That evening, I poured a glass of wine, the good bottle I'd been saving for something special, and relaxed in the house I inherited from my grandmother. Jake had suggested countless times we put his name on the deed, but my instincts always said no. Tonight, those instincts felt even smarter. My phone buzzed again with Jake's texts. Each message was more arrogant than the last. "I planned this for months. Emma, Anna understands me. Maybe you'll find someone your own age. My family agrees we've drifted apart." I saved every single message. Jake was digging his own hole deeper, giving me all the proof I needed for my lawyer. The last text made me laugh out loud. "By the way, I booked our flights and hotel with the joint credit card. Consider it a goodbye gift." Perfect. I immediately called the credit card company. "This is Emma Carter. I need to report some fraudulent charges and remove my husband from our account." "Certainly," the representative replied politely. "Which charges?" "2 first-class tickets to Los Angeles, and a hotel booking made today. I'll send you screenshots of his messages admitting everything." She canceled the bookings without hesitation. Tomorrow morning, Jake and Anna would arrive at the airport with worthless tickets and no hotel reservation. Life moves on even if your husband runs off with an assistant half his age. My phone buzzed nonstop all morning. Jake's texts grew angrier by the minute. "What did you do with the credit card?" "The airline says our tickets don't exist. The hotel canceled our reservation." "Answer me." I ignored him completely. It was Friday, the busiest day at my boutique. Besides, I had new handbags to unpack. Life doesn't stop just because your husband runs away with a girl barely out of college. Around lunchtime, Jake's mother called me. "Emma, Jake told us what happened. He says you've been so controlling, and that you're making his life difficult now." I put her on speaker while arranging a new window display. "Did Jake also tell you he emptied our joint account and tried paying for his little escape using our credit card?" Silence. "Well," she finally said, "he claimed he had no choice because you were cold to him." "Barbara," I replied calmly, "I have his texts. Do you want me to read the one where he bragged about taking our money? Or maybe the one mocking my age?" Another pause, then softly, "He was cruel, wasn't he?" "I'm sorry, Emma." "I appreciate the call," I said, "but my lawyer advised me to limit contact right now. Goodbye, Barbara." By afternoon, Jake's sister, Sarah, was spreading news to friends. Apparently, Jake and Anna were stranded in a cheap motel near the airport, their glamorous escape now looking pathetic. My lawyer called with an update. We've scheduled an emergency hearing for Monday. Jake's texts and actions give us everything we need to freeze your joint assets immediately. Good, I replied. Has he been served yet? No, she said with a smile in her voice. We'll deliver the papers right to his motel. I hung up, smiling at how Jake's big adventure was rapidly unraveling. Jake kept messaging me throughout the weekend, switching from angry threats to fake apologies. You've ruined everything. I didn't mean to hurt you. Can't we talk this out? That store wouldn't exist without my support. Each text just gave my lawyer more evidence. I ignored him and enjoyed the peace and quiet at home. On Monday morning, the courtroom was buzzing. Jake arrived wearing clothes too tight for his age, desperately trying to look young and carefree. Anna waited nervously outside, suddenly looking very out of place. My lawyer carefully presented the evidence. Jake's cruel texts about emptying our joint account, proof of his credit card fraud, and a year's worth of hidden expenses. Jake's lawyer tried defending him, calling my actions vindictive, but the judge wasn't convinced. Mr. Evans, the judge said firmly, turning to Jake, you admitted by text that you intentionally emptied your joint account and used your shared credit card to fund your getaway. Is this true? Jake hesitated awkwardly. I just wanted a fresh start. By stealing money? The judge asked sharply. Jake's face turned red. Then the judge addressed Jake directly again. You must return every cent you took from the joint account within 24 hours. Until the divorce is final, all joint assets will remain frozen. But I spent it all. Jake protested weakly. Then you'd better find a way to replace it, the judge replied sternly. And Mr. Evans, this court doesn't appreciate people using shared money for romantic trips with their girlfriends. As I walked out, I heard Anna ask Jake what they were going to do now. But I didn't care anymore. I had a business to run, the one Jake never respected or understood. Over the next few weeks, Jake became desperate. He claimed the boutique had been his idea, and that he had invested money into it. But my careful bookkeeping easily proved him wrong every time. His lawyer tried one last trick, arguing Jake deserved half my store because it grew during our marriage. But my lawyer quickly responded, showing the judge how strictly I'd kept the business finances separate from our personal accounts. My boutique started getting busier, thanks partly to local gossip about Jake's foolish actions. Customers came in to show their support, often buying much more than they planned. One woman even told me her ex-husband had tried something similar. Men like that never expect us to be smarter, she laughed. Jake's family began reaching out again, this time to apologize. His sister Sarah admitted they believed Jake at first, but now saw the truth through his texts. Even his mother Barbara called me ashamed. He shouldn't have mocked your age or stolen from you. I don't know where I went wrong. I let their calls go unanswered. Weeks ago their support might have mattered, but now it felt empty, like people jumping off a sinking ship. Jake's life wasn't going according to plan. He and Anna had moved into her tiny apartment. Suddenly, living on an assistant's small paycheck didn't seem so romantic anymore. Anna even started posting online about toxic relationships, hinting she might be ready to move on. I almost felt sorry for Jake, but then remembered how cruel he'd been, laughing as he emptied our joint account. Instead of pity, I felt proud. Proud I'd planned ahead and protected myself while he foolishly underestimated me. At our final court hearing, Jake looked nothing like the confident man who'd left me by text. Anna didn't show up this time. She'd already moved on to someone younger, according to the gossip I'd heard. Jake was back to wearing his old clothes, looking tired and defeated. His lawyer seemed frustrated, probably tired of losing arguments. He tried one final time, saying Jake deserved part of the boutique for providing emotional support. My lawyer quickly showed the court Jake's texts, where he called my boutique a silly hobby, mocking the hard work I'd done for years. The judge made the final decision clear. Mrs. Carter's business was kept entirely separate from the marriage finances, and Mr. Evans' texts clearly show financial misconduct. Miss Carter will retain her home, her boutique, and all separate assets. Mr. Evans must pay back all the money he took from their joint account. Jake looked stunned. Outside, he hissed angrily at me, "You've ruined me. I'll have to move back with my parents now." "No," I replied calmly, "you ruined yourself. I just made sure you couldn't ruin me too." Jake's mother stood nearby, clearly embarrassed, ready to drive him back to his childhood bedroom. I watched as they walked away, her voice scolding him, honestly, Jake, stealing money and sending cruel texts. How could you? He thought he'd written the end of our story with a nasty message. But really, he'd just started my new chapter 1 filled with success, independence, and freedom. 6 months later, my boutique was thriving. I'd opened a second store, hired more employees, and started selling online. Jake, meanwhile, struggled to rebuild his life. He tried dating apps, but women his own age weren't interested in a middle-aged man living with his parents. Younger women had heard enough stories to steer clear. His career also suffered. The company started investigating his inappropriate relationship with Anna. Instead of getting a promotion, Jake got a formal warning, and someone else took the job he'd always wanted. One day, his sister Sarah unexpectedly visited my store. "I'm so sorry we didn't support you at first," she said quietly. "Jake convinced us you were cold and controlling. But seeing his texts and behavior, well, now we know the truth. Jake's mom called me sometimes too. She told me how he blamed everyone else for his problems, me, Anna, even the judge. I don't know what we did wrong raising him," she sighed. I listened politely but didn't get involved. Jake's drama wasn't my problem anymore. I was too busy expanding my business, planning for a third boutique, and finally enjoying the peace I'd earned. In my office, I kept a framed screenshot of Jake's cruel goodbye text as a reminder not of the pain, but of how far I'd come. Underneath it was a sign: "The best revenge is success." And every day, that's exactly what I was proving. 2 years after Jake's heartless text, my life was better than ever. My boutique had grown into a successful business chain, with multiple locations and dozens of employees. Magazines wrote about me, not as a betrayed wife, but as a strong businesswoman who knew how to protect herself. Anna, Jake's former girlfriend, even visited my original store once. She quietly apologized, admitting she'd believed all his lies until she saw who he really was. He promised everything, but he had nothing, she confessed. "I'm with someone my own age now, we're building something real." Jake's mother reached out one last time, thanking me for teaching their family about not excusing bad behavior. "Jake still blames everyone but himself, but at least we're done defending him," she said softly. I thought about Jake often, not with anger or sadness, but gratitude. His cruel message had been meant to break me, but instead it helped me build a stronger future. He thought he was ending our story. He never realized he was just beginning mine. At the grand opening of my latest boutique, surrounded by people celebrating my success, I glanced at my reflection in the store window. Jake had mocked me for getting older, but all I saw now was someone stronger, wiser, and happier than ever. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even, it's simply living your best life.